So if you're trying to choose the right neighborhood in Calgary right now, but you're feeling a little overwhelmed by conflicting advice from family, agents, online research, well, here's what helping over 3,800 families here in Calgary over the last 2 decades has taught me and our team on how the market is actually working. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 5 types of neighborhoods that are actually holding or increasing their value compared to half the city. Because if you recall in last videos, we have seen half of our neighborhoods drop in value year over year from September 24 to September 25. So what are some of these commonalities in these 5 types of neighborhoods that are holding their value? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about today. And to help you out, I've actually put a link in the description for all 5 types of neighborhoods that we're gonna walk through so you can actually go see what's available on the market right now. And so when I was looking through all of the neighborhoods, over 200 neighborhoods in Calgary, year over year data, the first theme that I saw come out was established family suburbs. And these are neighborhoods like Signal Hill, Panorama Hills, Hidden Valleys, even Saddle Ridge, Royal Oak. They were built primarily in the 1990s through the 2010s. So homes are roughly about 10 to 30 years old right now. And the reason that these areas are holding their value is a combination of a lot of things. They have got some established schools in the neighborhoods. They've got recreational facilities, and they've got some modern home layouts. They're not older neighborhoods like in the 60s and 70s. So they have that updated, little bit larger home feel. Some of your lots are a little bit smaller, but you get more home on those lots. So it's better for families, more affordable, right? Price per square foot. You've got multiple K-9 schools in these areas. You've got parks, community centers, all within the neighborhoods. They're built really, really well. And the high owner occupancy rates, like sometimes even upwards of 70 or more % of the owners in the areas versus homes being rented out. The other thing is the median household income. When you look at a lot of these neighborhoods, a lot of them have the average for the neighborhood over $100,000, creating a lot more stability than other neighborhoods. So even with some new supply coming in to neighborhoods around it, buyer competition for detached homes in these areas drives sustained appreciation year over year. There's a lot more buyers. Your buyer pool is bigger for this type of neighborhood. So who is this for? Well, if you're a young family, prioritizing schools, safety, community, amenities, all of that. If you're moving up from a townhome or a condo and want a backyard for kids, or maybe you're 4-legged child, the dogs, that's what I mean. Your kids might crawl around. Anyways, this is your category. This is what you should be looking for. You get modern infrastructure, established retail. A lot of them are built right around the ring road, Stony Trail, so you get a lot of good access to the rest of the city as well. Now, you're probably gonna be looking in the price ranges of anywhere from like $550 up to $850 or $9 for a detached home, depending on these specific neighborhoods, home sizes, all of that, right? So if you wanna see some incredible homes that are for sale in established neighborhoods like this for families, then check the link out in below. Now, for this theme or category or any of the other ones, if you want help finding other great neighborhoods other than the handful that I mentioned in each of these lists, just comment in the comments. Just go, help me. And I know what you mean, so just put help me. I will reach out to you, I will connect you with our team, and we will help you find a great neighborhood for exactly what you're looking for that fits some of these different types of categories, all right? Now these family suburbs, they are solid, but here's where it gets interesting. Now there's a category, the next one, where most buyers are overlooking that's quietly outperforming them year after year. Now I wanna call this value and opportunity markets. So what in the world does that even mean? Well, these are places like Ogden, Thorncliffe, Forest Heights, Marlborough Park, Deer Run. These are neighborhoods that were built in the 1960s through the 1980s. So homes are probably around 40 to 60 years old. They're affordable and many are outdated, right? Some of them are hurting and some of them are renoed, and it's a mix of all of these things. So here's the thing that most people don't realize about these types of areas. They're entering a renovation and reinvestment phase. As new builds move out of reach for first-time buyers, these 1970s or so era homes with strong bones are being modernized. Investor attention and first-time buyers entry are driving steady kind of uplift and demand in these areas. So each upgraded property redefines the local benchmark. Now these zones are Calgary's affordability catch basin, if you want to say it, right? That creates opportunity for many. And as we are entering potentially that stagnant type market where we're seeing values go up and down based on seasonality over the next maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when you can put sweat equity into a property that can add value on the other end, right? Like when you go to sell it, that's gold. And that's what I did actually. That's what Rebecca and I did. Our very first detached property, we bought in an area kind of like this, and we added value to it. We finished the basement, we did renovations to it. And by doing that, that allowed us to sell it for a higher price when the market was stronger in the future years. So you can probably guess already, who is this for? Well, this is for a lot of your first-time buyers. They're stretching to get into the market. Or investors looking for properties to renovate, rent, flip them, that kind of thing. So what's happening here is you're getting into the market at a lower price point with room to add value through upgrades. Now, big caution to those that are doing this. The biggest lesson that I have seen kind of flippers or investors or even homeowners when they're renovating properties like this is they can easily overbuild for the area. So if you are in an area like Deer Run, let's say, and you're gonna renovate a property, don't think that you're out in Springbank, or don't think that you're in some fancy inner city neighborhood and you're putting in high-end appliances like Wolf appliances or like really high-end toilets or things like this. Don't make that mistake because you're gonna kind of spend way too much in your renovation. So just be careful with that and know the audience of who you're gonna sell it to in the future, right? So you might even do it just for yourself, but don't overbuild it so that it's too much money invested and you're not gonna see that return, because we're not seeing prices of the city, right, and the neighborhood just climbing like we have in the past. So for a lot of these areas, you can kind of probably get into these homes potentially under 400, but probably that 450 is realistic, up to maybe 550, 650, somewhere in that range. And so these are homes that have room to grow. So if this is you, jump into the description, grab the link. You're gonna see a bunch of places for sale that might have some great opportunities in neighborhoods like these. Now, if you wanna combine affordability with something even more powerful, future infrastructure, this next category is where smart money is moving. So this category, I'm gonna call it connected corridors and emerging nodes. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay, neighborhoods like Kingsland, Haysboro, Somerset, Southwood, Ogden, even Auburn Bay. Some were built in the 50s through the 70s along Calgary's early South Rail expansion, right? And there's others like Somerset that came in the 90s, and Auburn Bay is as recent as 2016 and 2015. So you might look at this and go, how do any of these neighborhoods have anything in common to be put into a category? Well, let me tell you. So when you are close to a major intersection, transit, LRT, anything like that, the neighborhood, usually within 1 kilometer of the radius of that change, that infrastructure, right? Those usually hold better value. So one of the little things that when we were always looking for properties was how long did it take to get in and out of a neighborhood? But if you're in the middle of Tuscany, sometimes it can take you 10 minutes to get out. Panorama Hills is a good example, and it's not on this list per se, but like it can take you 10 minutes to get out of Panorama Hills if you're right in the middle sometimes, depending on the time of the day, schools, all this kind of stuff. So one thing we've always looked for is, can I get out to a major road within 5 minutes, 7 minutes? Because then all of a sudden that just kind of cuts a lot of your commute time instead of just driving through your neighborhood. So that's what I mean by this, is finding these neighborhoods that have close proximity, not just the neighborhood itself, but the home inside the neighborhood. And that's what you want to look for. Anything that is tied close to the McLeod trails, your Crowchild Trail, any of the major roads in the city, or any of the LRT stations too. So who is this for? This really is for anyone who is kind of doing a lot of commuting, whether they're going downtown, jumping on the LRT. Maybe you have kids that are going to be using transit as they get older. You might be going to the South Health campus, right? You might be positioning yourself wherever it is with your work, or you just want to be able to get out of the neighborhood quickly. That type of property in a neighborhood that is close to these types of transit or intersections, that's really going to be holding its value better than neighborhoods that are kind of tucked away. So if that's important to you, then this is something you want to consider. So in this price range, I mean, honestly, you could be looking at anywhere from $5 to $1 million. It really depends on the neighborhood, depends on the areas, depends on what you're looking for. But this is a type of a theme or a category that I don't think is talked about too often. Because if that's important to you, then you should find something that works. Okay, so I want to remind you, if you want help finding specific neighborhoods just for you in your situation, type "help me" in the comments, right? And I am definitely going to help you find the right places, connect you with our team, and we can have conversations to find the right neighborhoods, the right streets, all of that, because finding the right thing is so important. And that's what we want to help you do. So do that. Jump in the comments, comment "help me," and I will reply, and we will connect you with the right person on our team to kind of get going. All right, so category number 4, theme number 4 is kind of completely different than what we've seen already. If you're looking for legacy, scarcity, long-term prestige, well, this is what you want to look for. I'm going to call this the prestige and scarcity neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods like Pump Hill, Rosedale, Mayfair, Lakeview, even like North Glenmore Park. These neighborhoods were originally built in the 1950s through the 1970s, but many homes have been extensively rebuilt or renovated since the 2000s. The average home age is probably 50 to 70 years old, unless it's a brand new home on the lot, but you'll often see complete renovations or full-on teardowns. So what's the reason that these hold their value? Well, it's scarcity. It's location, it's prestige, it's heritage status that really keeps values insulated here. You've got really large lots, real mature trees, right? You're really close to some of the river, some of the pathways like Glenmore Reservoir, Weaselhead Flats. You're close to golf courses. These areas have extremely low turnover. And sometimes if you're wanting to get into these luxury type neighborhoods, it can take you a couple years to find the right property. Now the demographics in these neighborhoods, they really skew towards upper income, long-term owners with median household incomes easily over $140,000 per year. And what a lot of buyers in this area, what they're looking for is land. The right lot, the right piece of land with a great home on it. And that can really create a lot of long-term appreciation even when we're in some cooling cycles. One thing I have noticed is these luxury neighborhoods, they're kind of the last ones to go down in price in a depreciating market, but they're also one of the slower ones to appreciate. Because usually when we're in an upward market, it's usually the first-time buyers or things like that that are coming into the market. The affordability sector comes in first, but you don't have as big of drops, right, in this luxury market, these prestige type neighborhoods. So if you're established in your career, you want privacy, incredible location, real incredible amenities, prestigious address, maybe there's a certain street you want to live on, whatever it is, if you're looking for that forever home with space and character, this is where you're going to want to focus. And these aren't starter homes, these are legacy properties. So for example, like Pump Hill, it can range from $750,000 all the way up to $3.5 million, with median sales around like $2 million. Other areas in this category vary, but generally you're not getting anything less than $750,000, $800,000 up to multi-million dollar properties. So if this is what you're looking for, I have a specific search already set up that you can just go and see exactly some of these neighborhoods and areas that might actually appeal to you. And if you are trying to figure out which area it is, comment "help me" in the comments and I will reach out to you and we will connect and figure out what the right neighborhoods are for you. This is a category that surprises people the most, and it's where some of the highest appreciation is actually happening right now, even though it doesn't look like it at first. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about urban revitalization and redeveloped areas. Big words, but here's what it means. Places like Altadore, Hillhurst, Glenbrook, Kingsland, Haysboro, Bridgeland, Mission, Cliff Bungalow, you get it? These are post-war or early century communities with 5 to 6 kilometers, kind of within that 5 to 6 kilometers of the core. Homes were built anywhere from the 1910s all the way through the 1970s. So the average age is probably 55 or like even 80 years old for some of the properties. Now, this all might sound a little counterintuitive, but stay with me, because we've talked about neighborhoods on this channel that are in this area that are kind of not doing good. So what are you looking for the areas that are within that 5-6 kilometers of the core? Well, these neighborhoods are going through infill construction and duplex redevelopment. They're not necessarily having all of like your 4, 6, 8 plexes everywhere. They're more of your semi-detached kind of properties, right? Your areas. You're not going through like Capitol Hill, Banff Trail, they're not on this list particularly, but other areas like I already mentioned are. So old 1950s bungalows are being replaced with some new semi-detached units or modern builds. Walkability, access to destinations, so like streets like Marteloup, 17th Ave, even Kensington, these are all major anchors to neighborhoods that are really kind of holding their value as we move forward. So who's buying in these areas? Well, you've got a lot of strong young professionals, downsizer demographics, replacing old, kind of the older ownership bases, right? So a lot of these people, they're downsizing, but they don't want to leave the city. We've seen a lot of this happen actually. They're downsizing the square footage of their house, but they're not downsizing the price. That's kind of a total different thing. And a lot of people are staying in our city when they're doing this. So all of these factors, they're really creating kind of this perpetual scarcity of the modern products in these neighborhoods. So if you're a young professional or a couple who kind of wants, that detached, semi-detached property, these are areas that you're gonna wanna consider. You might really value walkability, cafe culture, walking to some streets, the urban lifestyle. We're not a Toronto, we're not a Vancouver, so don't think it's like that, but these areas do provide some of that. So if you're downsizing, you want low maintenance with proximity to amenities, these are all really, really built for who you are if you are like those individuals. So you're trading a lot of times yard space for location and lifestyle. Now these can cost anywhere, like a huge range from pretty much anywhere from like 700-800 and up, let's just say that. Because a lot of them you're not gonna find for anything less. Sometimes you can start seeing some of the fourplexes, like 2 fronts, 2 backs built on one unit, or one lot, I should say. And you can kind of get into those for like 600,000-700,000, right? But if you're looking at semi-detached or just straight up detached infills, or even just some of the older properties, really it's gonna be more than that. So you have to have a budget, you gotta be established, but these are some incredible neighborhoods that you might want to consider. So again, if any of these themes or categories, or you're trying to sort out and you don't know the right neighborhood yet, but you know that you're one of these categories and that's who you are, comment "help me" and we will reach out, we will connect with you. Jump into the links in the description, grab all of these links, the searches, all of that is in there. And if you're considering buying a townhome right now, well, then you're gonna wanna watch this. Trust me, head over there, see you there.